Allah said we are the best nation ever taken for the salvation of the entire creation. But as Muslims, our condition is pitiful. That's because our character is despicable. Muslims nowadays are so hypocritical. Quote the hadith and show you the reciprocal. We made the deen so political. The problem seems so minuscule, but the effects are critical. See, the body is made up of two parts. The first part is visible, what we call the physical. The skins, the bones, and all the typical things you think about when you think about the body as an original. The part that feels invincible till death comes to visit you. The other is more mystical. Many view it as a miracle, while others consider it fictional. The part you can't see is invisible. Your faith, your belief, your iman, what's known as a spiritual. But we put so much physical effort in our physical, whether we'll wear, whether we'll eat, whether we'll sleep, everything that makes our condition more livable, that we neglect our spiritual, which is the most pivotal aspect that allows man to reach his pinnacle. The effort we give is minimal. Luqman the wisest advises, any matter in the heaven or the earth, Allah decides it, indicating to His Highness. Any object, even the slightest, a mustard seed as He described it, no matter its sizes, despite this, you can't hide it, Allah will find it, describing His preciseness. Then He emphasizes, whatever happens, Allah prescribed it. You can't fight it, it's destiny, only He writes it. So whatever you plan to do, you better revise it, cause Allah supervises. The next thing He told should be written in gold. There's two parts to the body. If corrected, your character is perfected. If corrupted, you're destructed. Which two parts is it from? It's the heart and the tongue. This test is as hard as it comes because it starts when you're young, influenced by the movies we watch and the songs that we sung. Now when we speak, it sounds like the spark of a gun or the bark of a young dog on a rung. See the tongue. I mean, it's amazing the power that each of us have in between our teeth. The power to speech, the power to preach, the power to reach deep inside another soul and destroy its peace. The tongue is like a lion. When let loose, no telling how violent it is. So like a lion, I rather sit silent and mind my biz. No gossip, no lying, no slander or backbiting. Like the lion on the back of a gazelle biting the back of the gazelle as it's lying on the ground dying, frightened, fighting for its life, trying to escape. But it's too late, it met its fate. Like the words that escape from your words, trying to relate something when you know you made a mistake. The damage is done. See, the tongue is like a lion. The lion is conniving, disguising, hiding in the bushes, eyeing its prey. It begins striding, waiting to strike in with prior position and timing. Then it locks and dives in, colliding with its prey, applying pressure as it tightens its teeth, grinding and slicing the meat. From the head to the feet, the gazelle has met its defeat. The tongue is like a lion, so be careful when you speak. But only what comes out of the tongue is what's in the heart, because that's where it starts. Develop the fear. Whatever I say, He hears. Whatever you plan to do, He's near. The greatness of Allah should appear so much that the idea of disobeying Him disappears. So listen here. The heart, which is supposed to be for Allah, should be clear. But we have filtered it with listening to haram, speaking haram, looking at haram, until it twisted our view and made us love everything which is wrong, to the point that the value of Allah and His commandments have gone. And we don't see the harm, but we gotta stay strong and strengthen our relation. Look at our situation. Too much false information circulating. We choose the wrong people to emulating. Too many hijabs have been taken off. Too many beards have been shaven. We lost our foundation. When it comes to deen, how much interest have we taken? I mean, just look at the amount of interest that we partake in. The only haram Muslims don't do is baking. Everything else is up for conversation. This whole generation is in hibernation. Muslims, we need to awaken. We need to straighten up and hasten and fall in prostration and show this whole nation the peace that we've been graced with when we embrace this deen of purification. And to the word terrorist never comes in association to identification. But Muslims ain't practicing, so there's no demonstration of the best creation. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Corrects the relation with Allah, Allah corrects the relation with the whole entire creation. While your mind is contemplating, your time is escaping. While you deciding, your grave is waiting. Your heaven is waiting, but you're still debating, hesitating, waiting for the right time. Devastating how we always underestimating the power of Allah. Too busy celebrating life that we forgot why we was given life. Our destination, our purpose, our obligation. The proclamation God is one without a son to bow down to prostration. My mind is racing when thinking about the life we're facing, the times we're placing, and the life we're chasing. All our time, money, and concentration is concentrating on chasing the occupation and place to live in, that we don't realize we've been placed in the occupation of prison. Jobs, degrees, school, family, and all the things that cause us stress, it's just a test. The only quest is you and your Allah. If that's correct, everything's blessed. If it's wrecked, then you'll continue to be stressed until you're depressed. Your heart will never find rest. So are you going to obey or are you going to stray? That's life. This is the test. Are you going to accept or are you going to reject? The one that controls you every breath to your death. Reflect. If your relationship's incorrect, you need to redirect before you sleep in deep regret. Allah is waiting, so take that first step. As I unwind and share these thoughts of mine, one question circles my mind. How are we so reclined? Do we not know what's going on? Do we not see the signs? Are we that focused on our grind that we can't take the time to read in between the lines? And maybe we'll find that we're so inclined to sins that our heart are blind, to the crimes that lead to the end of times. And even though humanity is on the decline, and my brothers and sisters lose their lives, we recline. We're doing just fine, we don't mind, as long as their family and not mine. We're fine as long as our clothes are designed and hard to find, one of a kind. And what I drive is top of the line. And where I resign in this state of mind has to be so big, I need another state for mine. We're lost in this state of mind. Our eyes work just fine, but it's our hearts that are blind, unaware to the signs and the revelations. We're so busy decorating our outside that we neglect our inside. And in time you'll see what happens when you make the object your object. When all that matters is the condition that the heart is. Did it spread love or was it hateful? Was it thankful or was it ungrateful? Was it a believer or was it unfaithful? Was it wasteful of the time given this life? The reason we wasn't living right because we was too busy living lies? We couldn't visualize the spiritual. Too focused on our physical. Man, our condition's pitiful.